Hey everyone, today I want to show you how to create charts using pivot tables. They make it in Excel. It's very easy to do. I have some sales data here. I don't quite have a pivot table yet. So what I'm going to do is just select the data. I'm not going to include the totals because we'll be able to do that through the pivot table. Again, all you have to do is go to the Insert tab over here on the left, Insert Pivot Table, to have our data selected that we want. I'm going to actually just dump it right here on the same tab to make it a little bit easier for ourselves, and then we'll hit OK. So now it gives us this pivot table. It's just kind of like a raw pivot table that we can do whatever we want with. What we're going to do is it's going to give us the option of a pivot chart, which we obviously don't have any data in there yet. So we can go ahead and format the data into this pivot table how we want, and then that will allow us to come up with some charts for what we're going to try and do here. So I'm going to go ahead and do the names of the salespeople here, and then we're going to do the state as our columns so we can see who sold what by state, and then we're going to drop our sales down into the values. And so you can see here it's just a breakout of sales by person by state. Pretty easy way to visualize that. So now we have this table, this pivot table with all this data. And let's say, but I want some sort of graph to kind of help me easily visualize that. So I'm just going to come up here under Pivot Table Tools. So you have to be selecting the pivot table for this to show up. Click on Analyze. And there's a couple of things you can do. You can either go to Recommended Pivot Tables, and Excel is going to give you some ideas of different pivot tables that you can use. So I'll just click on that in terms of like what pivot tables you want to do. So this isn't really great here because it's not really helping us solve the problem. It just gives us the name of the salesperson with their sales or the state by sales. So that's not exactly what we want. So we're going to actually just go to pivot chart. So again, it's going to give us the option here to create a chart from the data that we have. So hover over this and we'll kind of zoom in here. So this is a great visual that if I want to do salesperson by state, how much sales they got. So you can see the blue, each salesperson, what they did in Arizona, California, Connecticut, Florida, which is great there. You got a stat column here, which is just the total, and then it has a breakdown of each different state. So very easy and helpful to see there as well. And 100% stat column, this is just the percentage of all their total sales. It's not going to tell us the total, but what percent of their sales are by state, which can be useful depending on if that's what you're looking for or not. 3D cluster, so this is just the same thing where your data is clustered, but it gives a 3D model. So it's just kind of the same thing as the 3D ones there. Line ones don't really make sense because it's, typically I would use a line to show a passage of time and to show a trend there. So we're just going to kind of skip over that one. You could do a pie chart here. Let's say you're interested in seeing for Arizona what your sales are by salesperson. So what's sad, like I wanted to, let's say I want to look at all the states, you'd have to do that a little bit differently. We'll get into that in another video. But if you did want to look at different states, you'd have to go down to the state filter, which you can also do in the chart field. And as I filter here, it's also going to filter into the pivot chart fields to the right. So let's say I actually wanted to look at Florida, and you'll notice for my pie chart, all those numbers are going to shift. It's going to change what it's going to show for each salesperson. Click on this little paintbrush here, and it's going to give you some different formatting styles. You can look at percentages. You can put the person's name by the actual pie chart. So just some different options there. So there's that. You could do that one. Let's say maybe that's not exactly what we want to do. We can actually click on our design here and we can go ahead and change it. Currently, as we mentioned before, we had our pie chart here, but let's say that's not what we want to do. So we can click on change chart type. And let's say we want to do a bar chart. I think, this one could look kind of cool. Again, we still have this filter on, so let's get rid of that really fast. So we'll just click on that. And again, that's going to filter everything. You can see this little filter icon here next to state. So it's showing that we do have a filter there. So I'm just going to click on that, select all. Again, it's going to do the exact same thing. But now what we're going to do is we're going to go and click on change chart type. And we want to do a bar chart. This is what we're looking for here, a clustered bar chart. So we'll just hit OK there. And it's going to give us that clustered bar chart. We can manually adjust how we want to see it. And let's say we have obviously Steve and Pam, and we have all of our different salespeople, and it's showing the sales by state. So what you could do, let's say if you wanted to inverse that or reverse it, what you can do is just click and drag the state, drop that into your Axis categories, and then put the name into the Legend series. So it's just going to flip what we had. So we went from salespeople over here and state over here. And then so we, again, just by adjusting that in our pivot tables, we're able to adjust it in our graph here. So a very useful tip and tool if you're trying to visualize data easily from a pivot table. It actually, I think, makes it a little bit simpler having raw data, inserting a graph into Excel. So I hope this is helpful. Please let me know if you have any questions. I will try and answer the questions as best I can and try and create additional content around some of your questions as well. So please let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. And remember to like and subscribe to the Excel Guy. Thanks and have a great day.